Okay, hi everybody. I wanted to go over this Unit 2 Exercise 4 because a lot of people had questions on this. And have a little patience with me because I don't have my normal editing tools. With all the updates that the school has gone through, for some reason they've killed my um, editor function, so this is just raw video. So just have a little patience with me, okay? I'm not able to edit this video the way I'd like to. Alright, so we're coming into exercise 4. Most of you have done it through the Mind Tap, which is fine. That should tell you whether or not you have any issues. But some of you are not able to use Mind Tap, so I wanted to give you a direct way to do this through the JGrass program, okay? So I've put this in this Unit 2 Exercise 4. I've got two downloads here. One is this Quartz to Java starter code that you would get in the Mind Tap exercise. And this is the instructions. Okay, so what we did was we pulled up the JGrasp, and if you open this up, if you just open up in JGrasp, you should be able to see this. This is your starter code. Okay. Now I know that some of you guys will have some other things that'll pop up. You know, you'll have where they want you to install it in different places. Go ahead and just accept it for now. All that's important right now is, let me pull this down. There we go. All that's important right now is that we write the code and we compile it. Okay, so the other stuff is not important. Where you save it, make sure it's going to call it quarts to gallon. That's what the code calls it. That's fine. Okay, so let's go into the instructions and see what the instructions tell us to do. It says open up starter code, quarts to gallon, Java starter code, and JGrasp. Write the quarts to gallon Java class that declares a name constant to hold the number of quarts in a gallon. Now I think this is pretty stupid myself. Normally what I would do in a class is I just have them divide by 4 instead of, just having a name, giving yourself a named constant and call it quarts in gallon, right? Um, but we'll just do it, so I'll show you guys how to do it. And it, you know, once again, um, maybe you've got someone in your team that is dumb and will try and change it for you if you try to divide something by quarts. If that was an issue or something like that, then you would want to have a name constant. So if you're going to have a name constant, it's called final, okay? And then you're going to put in your integer, and then you're going to call it quarts and gallon. And if it's a named, if it's named constant, obviously it's going to be all capital letters. So you're just going to type in your, quarts and gallon. And I like underscores and constant names because it just helps you read the dang thing. And we're setting it to 4. Obviously, the 4 quarts in a gallon. Okay, there you go. So you've put in your final constant. Okay, so what next? Also, declare a variable to represent the number of quarts needed for a painting job and assign an appropriate value like 18. Okay, so we'll put in another one here. We'll say integer quarts needed is equal to 18. Oops, lowercase Hadley. Int quarts needed is 18. Okay. So then assign an appropriate value for 18. Compute and display the number of gallons and quarts needed for the job. So I'm going to have to put in some other variables in here. I want to have a variable for the number of gallons and leftover quarts, because I'm going to have some quarts left over. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to put in here have a variable int, and it's going to be gallons needed. Okay, I don't need to put a variable in there because it's going to be computed for me. Okay, the next one is extra quarts. So I'm going to call this one int extra quarts. So, it's going to be some kind of gallon with quarts left over. Okay, so that's going to be my formula. So now I'm going to put in here my formula, right? Gallons needed is equal to quarts needed divided by quarts and gallon. Now normally I put 4 in here, but since we're being so wonderful here, we're just going to type in our variable here, quarts underscore in underscore gallon. Alright, oops, got a mistake already. Take caps lock off. Now we know that this is just going to give us a number of quarts. It's not going to give us anything left over. So what I'm going to have to do for my remainder is do remainder division. Okay? So I'm going to put extra quarts. So what's left over is extra quarts, right? Extra quarts needed is equal to quarts needed. Now I'm going to have the remainder division here. This is a separate symbol. This remainder division, you're getting the remainder. You're putting in the percentage sign. That's a special division to get your remainder, quarts and gallon. I gotta go all caps, don't I? So now I'm going to print out something. Let me see what they want me to print out. Display explanatory text with the values. So what I want to put out here is a job that needs 18 quarts requires 4 gallons plus 2 quarts. So I'm going to put this in here. Copy it. Now I'm going to paste it in here. Obviously, this needs to put on here. If we're going to print this out, I want to put system out print line, don't I? So I start out with system. Take the caps lock off. Dot out. Dot print line. So I put the parentheses and the beginning quotation mark. Come up to the end, and I put the ending quotation marks, the closing parentheses, and the semicolon. So now what do I want in here? Okay, so I'm going to have quotation marks there. So this quotation marks requires I put in here plus 18. Oops. Put a space in front of quarts. And my quotation mark here. Put a quotation mark here. Space gallons plus. And my quotation mark here. And I can put my quotation mark space. So I'm going to replace the 18. What's going to be for 18 quarts needed. So let me put up here. quarts needed, copy. So replace 18 with quarts needed. Plus. Now replace the 4 with gallons needed. So copy this. Replace 4. Put a plus in front of gallons needed. And put a plus after gallons needed. What's that 2 stand for? The 2 stands for extra quarts needed. So I'm going to copy this. I replace the 2 with extra quarts needed. Put the plus in front of extra quarts needed. And put the plus after it. Okay, let's see. We got and these 2. Okay, let's see if this works. So I'm going to save this first. I'm going to push the save button. Now you might get other code here because if you don't have it automatically saved to someplace, you can use mine here. If you don't have it automatically saved, it might give you put some places and just click OK, and just save it to wherever they want you to save it. In the end, you can just copy and paste it into Word or something like that and submit it. It's not a problem, okay? So now we're just going to run this. I'm going to compile this first. Click the plus. So it seems like everything's gone okay. There's no errors. If there were errors in this, you just fix it. You know, you want a semicolon at the end. Maybe you misspelled something, or your form. Just fix what it tells you to fix. It tells you right down here. So I'm going to clear this now, and I'm going to build this. So I'm going to go build and run. So it tells a job that needs 18 quarts requires 4 gallons plus 2 quarts. So I'm going to need an extra space in there. See, after the needs. So I click needs, I put a space in there. And after requires, I'm going to put a space in there. And after plus, I'm going to put a space in there. Okay, so that should make it look, that should make it come right. So I clear this, and I'm going to compile this again. And under build, I'm just going to run that, make sure it's running all right. So that says what we want it to say. Okay, now we're going to go back to, because there's a part 2 to this. Okay, convert the quarts to gallon class to an interactive application. Instead of assigning a value to the number of quarts, accept the value from the user as input. Compile your programs, fix your bugs and run it, fix mistakes till you're satisfied, then submit your program. Okay, this is simpler to do than you realize. Okay, so let's go back into the program. Okay, we're going to come back here. We already have imported the scanner class. That's what you need if you're going to have, you have to run the scanner class if you're going to get user input. So to get user input, after all my variables here, after my int extra quarts needed, I'm going to have to put in here scanner input. And I'm going to call that a new scanner class, and I'll just call it system in. Okay, so let's just do that. So I'll put in here scanner input. So we're going to accept user input. I'm going to put in here new scanner, and we're looking for system input. Now it doesn't matter that we have 18 up here, because when the user puts in an amount, it's going to change that, okay? But if it gives us an issue, we can always change that to look just like these look, okay? But I don't think it's going to give us a problem, so we'll just leave it the way it is right now. We'll come down here. So now I want to ask the user to enter the number of quarts that you need. So I can come on down. I'm going to put system output print. So I want it to print to my screen. Put system dot out dot print. What do I want to do? I put in here quotation marks. And so I'm asking the user, enter quarts needed. So I'm just going to put a couple chevrons in here, so, oops. So he knows that, he's supposed to do something, and put a space, okay? So now that he's entered something, I want to take what he's entered and use it as input. So I'm going to put in here quarts needed. Equals. And so now I'm going to put input next int. So that will grab, I'll put the, okay, parentheses, semicolon. So that will grab, this is going to grab, oops, that has to be next, Hadley. So what this is going to do is going to grab whatever the user is going to print. Okay, so whatever number the user is going to put in there, it's going to grab that number. And it's going to put it into quarts needed. Okay, so do I need anything else here? No, I think we're fine. So let's save this once again. Then we're going to compile it, see if we got any errors. Okay, so you might get a window like this pop up. That's fine. Just clear everything. And we're going to run it. Go click your build and click run. Okay, so it's telling me I've got an error. So it's telling me that oh, you know what? I put in a colon instead of a semicolon there. Very good. See, this is hard at work. So let me clear that. Let's run it again. Let's save it. Let's compile it. Okay. And now we're going to click the build. And we're going to click run. Enter quarts needed. Let's put 22. And click enter. A job that needs 22 quarts requires 5 gallons plus 2 quarts. There you go. That's exactly what you need. So how do you finish this out? You can find your Java class here. See, mine is quarts to gallon. And that's printed in documents. So I can go grab it from documents and submit it to the teacher. See, this under user documents. Or I can just copy and paste this into a text file or into Word and submit it that way. It's alright, whatever you'd rather do. If your program runs, that's fine. Now if you don't have JGrasp downloaded and all you have is Notepad++ or something like that, that'll probably work, but you won't be able to catch your mistakes and you get points off for your little mistakes. So it's always easier to go with something like JGrasp or to build it right into the MindTap program itself. So I hope that's helpful to you. And once again, your MindTap program will take points off or I will not. Okay? If it works, If it runs, it's fine. That's why it's always a good idea to run something like this in JGrasp, because you can call it something other than what they call it in the course, and you'll be fine. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I hope this is helpful to you. Bye.